What is school counseling? According to Erford, the job of the professional school counselor is complex and involves a complicated interplay of what school communities needs and or the strengths and weaknesses of the individual counselor. When you think of school counseling and what you study in school, you study definitions and theories, and you learn about different theorists and you do research. But when you walk into your school counseling office, you don't know what's going to be thrown at you, including learning how to evaluate transcripts, learning how to deal with different situations with students, learning how to, build a schedule, learning how to give out and do recommendations. And when you get that emotional student into your classroom, you don't your office, you don't know how to handle that in a sense because it's not really taught. You are given different viewpoints or different aspects, but you don't really know how to deal with it until it happens. So school counseling is complex. The lesbian identity or orientation generally refers to a female identified person who is sexually and emotionally attracted to other females, so they're attracted to the same sex. Gay identity refers to both female and male and females who are emotionally and sexually attracted to the same sex. Bisexual identity refers to a person who is attracted to males and females. Transgender relates to a person whose personal identity and gender does not correlate with their birth sex. And queer, it means strange or peculiar, questioning, not really sure. Some statistics of occurrences: about 35% of U.S. adults identify as lesbian, gay, or bisexual. That's about 9 million people in the United States. And 0.3% as transgender. About 19 million Americans have engaged in some same-sex behaviors, and around one-fourth of the adult population acknowledges the same-sex attraction. 9 out of 10 LGBT students are harassed each year, yet many schools have failed to respond effectively. Some schools don't know how to respond because there's really no guidebook to really show you how to handle students or handle students who make fun of LGBTQ students. So it's kind of a sensitive topic, but now because it's quote unquote on the uprising, I believe that all school students, school counselors should be socially aware of what's going on in the community so that they'll be able to give the students what they need. There is a higher percentage of LGBT students reported among millennials, so that's between ages 18 and 25. 4% are bisexual, 3% are gay/lesbian, and 1% are transgender. LGBT individuals are at risk for experiencing various types of psychological distress compared to their counterparts. So there's more of a likelihood that there will be some mental health issues or some type of concerns where they need to go to the doctor. Um, as I am shadowing at a school, I I was told that some of the students who are gay, have been sent to the psychiatric ward because of different issues that they may have with being. I wouldn't say issues, but different concerns and people making fun of them and them being bullied, um, being that which is a serious problem. 6 times Students are 6 times as likely to have high levels of depression because you want to be identified, or you want people to understand where you're coming from. And at the end of the day, some people will never understand their identity. They're more likely to use drugs and even be bullied and commit suicide because that need to be accepted is not being met. Developmental consideration, that's a sense of self-worth, is a major developmental task during childhood, but especially in high school. The development of self-esteem starts in early childhood and continues through adulthood. There is an extreme need for LGBTQ youth to be accepted by their family and peers. So, for example, if a student comes to their guidance counselor, their school counselor, and expresses to them their need to, tell their parents that they're gay or lesbian or trans, but they don't know how to because they don't want their parents to be upset. They want their parents to be accepting to the fact that this is the lifestyle that they believe is right for them and that they choose to live in. So, you know, parents and family members and even friends play a key role into explain, into the child's or youth or even a person's choice of being gay in a sense, because if their parents are not accepting of it, the child will never ever be able to be free because they're always going to feel constrained because mommy and daddy do not approve of what and who they are.
Being a teenager and going through puberty is already tough. It's tough already without the fear of your family not accepting you based off your sexual orientation. Teens have the right to feel comfortable enough to tell their families about how they feel without the fear of being abandoned. Too many teens are disowned and put out of their homes due to their sexual orientation. 40 to 50% of homeless youths in New York City alone identify as LBGT. They are living there because they're either thrown out of their homes for being who they are, ran away, or escaped from abuse. Such experience can negatively affect their well-being, depression, suicidal thoughts, and drug and alcohol abuse. Parents, family members, caretakers, embrace embrace your children. Too many children are left out in the cold because of expressing their feelings and loving who they love. Multicultural consideration. A student identity includes issues related to age, gender, race, class, and culture. The U.S. there are more than 5,000 churches that embrace lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community. Cultural support groups is essential in creating positive sense of self-identity for youth. LGBT youths of color who have the courage to come out risk losing not only the support of their family, but the support of their cultural support groups, whether it's Christianity, Muslim, belief systems. When working with youth of color, assessment of school situation is paramount. For example, in the Chinese culture, families believe that their first son should marry and carry on the family surname. This may not be unrealistic for a gay male student. The minority stress model suggests that the LGBT individuals who are minorities have greater psychological distress because they face prejudice and discrimination from the minority on a regular basis. I'm a strong believer in love conquers all. But as a school counselor, we can ask we can take in consideration follow questions that can help our students. Potential questions for youth of color, we can ask, do you have a support system with your family? Have you told anyone in your family about your feelings? What have you heard about the LGBT people from your family? Can you name someone in your family who might be a source of support for you? What are your family expectations of you? And how do you feel about yourself and your family structure? How do you think that your sexual orientation will affect your family? How will it affect your role in your family? Asking students these questions can better assess the situation, and we can carefully create an action plan to help students come, for better lack of word, come out the closet to their families. The role of a school counselor. School counselors have many roles that they take on through the course of their semester or school year. School counselors have an ethical obligation to provide support to all LGBT students by promoting academic achievement and social emotional development. School counselors are committed to all youth regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. They create they work to create a safe school environment and learn effective strategies. School counselors work to eliminate all barriers that any student might have. School counselors promote policies that reduce the use of offensive language, harassment, bullying, and improve overall climate. School counselors also address discrimination and promote violence protection programs. All staff members should be on board in creating a safe environment. Not only should school counselors create a safe environment, but all staff members, whether it's teachers, staff members of in all public schools, private schools, charter schools. But they are not creating a safe environment. It is the school's counselor's duty to encourage staff to create a safe environment. School counselors can also train staff members on how to deal with LGBT students, whether it's promoting effective speaking, discrimination, bullying, threatening, harassment, anything you can think of. It is the school counselor's obligation and ethical duty is to teach and train all personnel inside of a school of how to deal with LGBT students. LGBT students are at greater risk for experiencing various types of psychological distress, whether it's suicidal, anxiety, depression, the exploring stage. During the exploring stage, school counselors create an environment where they build trust. The goal of the exploring stage is to help the client examine his or her thoughts and feelings. During this stage, counselors include direct eye contact, positive body language, and ask the client open and ended questions. They also paraphrase and summarize during this stage. During the stage of therapy, the counselor should communicate acceptance, show empathy, and positive regard. At the end of the exploring stage, clients should feel completely supported to explore issues from their own point of views. The next stage of therapy, understanding stage. The goal of this stage is to help the client understand the reasons for these thoughts and feelings. Still during this stage, counselors show empathy, they self-disclose, and identify general problems. During this stage, the client should have a fresh perspective or viewpoint regarding their life challenges. During this stage, the understanding stage, Clients can feel vulnerable or attacked by different tones of voice. So it's very important for school counselors to have the same tone. The tone plays a major role in counseling. The last stage of therapy is the acting stage. The acting stage is an important stage. The acting stage builds the foundation for insight. So during this stage, the client and the counselor should have that trust that we try to get during the exploring stage. So by the end of the acting stage, the client and the counselor both have built their trust. The client begins to be more open and honest, and during this acting stage, the counselor can also come up with an action plan. During this also stage, the counselor does provide information to the client and also include possible staff members, teachers, parents to help in during all three stages. To continue the role of the school counselor, counselors investigate the impact family acceptance has on the LGBT student. It is a possibility that if families were more supportive, the suicide and depression rates of LGBT youth would be moderately less. We believe that parents should embrace their children, no matter what their sexual preference is. As a school counselor, it is our duty to create policies that help LGBT students. For instance, we can create an anti-harassment policy, create clubs that address LGBT students' issues, and work to improve them. Provide training for high school teachers to improve their rates of interventions and increase the number of supportive staff available to all students. If the school counselor isn't available, all teachers and staff should be trained and also show empathy to LGBT students at all given times. Also, school counselors increase the access to appropriate and accurate information regarding LGBT students, whether it's safe sex, whether it's open mic for students to be able to express how they feel. Comprehensive school counseling program. A comprehensive school counseling program is designed for every student. The goal is to provide the most comprehensive opportunity possible to benefit every student. Direct services. Direct services are face-to-face or virtual interactions between the school counselor and the student. Indirect service. Indirect services are provided on behalf of the student as a result of the school counselor interaction with others. Comprehensive program is approved by the district educational program for students K through 12. It is organized by a licensed school counselor and child development specialists. They collaborate with parents, teachers, administrators, and community stakeholders. The comprehensive program addresses students' development and academic achievements, career development, personal social skills, and community involvement. So to implement the comprehensive school counseling program for LGBT students, we'll go with 5 components to the delivery system. This guide will assist parents, faculty, administration, and community members to better understand the scope of the impact of the school counseling program and the primary goals to support the success of LGBT students. The comprehensive school counseling program will follow 5 primary steps: utilizing assessments and school data, implementing a clear, purposeful program to address needs, evaluate progress, and identify and communicate benefits to LGBT students and stakeholders. Now I'll speak about the 5 components individually. Individual student planning. Individual planning consists of activities that assist LGBT students in developing and reviewing their own individual academic, career, and personal social interests and plans. Individual planning will include and discuss strategies for post-college plans. The progress of LGBT students will be reviewed and updated at an annual and documented in their educational profile. Student development and guidance curriculum. The guidance curriculum is presented as a classroom instruction, large or small group activities, school presentations, parent workshops, and community events. Now, the development curriculum will be broken down in academic development events. So, career development, the student will be learning to work. Personal and social development, the students will be learning to live. Community development, the students will be learning to contribute. The curriculum will also include violence protection prevention, bullying prevention, and acceptance of all students. Responsive services. Responsive service will meet the immediate needs, concerns, or problems that distract LGBT students from their academic, personal, social, or career involvement. Responsive services will include individual and or small group consultations with the staff, parents, community, agencies on the student's behalf. Will also include referrals for outside resources, whether it's crisis counseling for prevention, interventions, and follow-up as peer faculties. Next, we'll talk about the system support for the comprehensive school counseling program. System support. System support will enhance LGBT students' learning because school counselors will provide advocacy by providing staff instruction, consultation, and feedback from other students. Student advocacy. Counselors will ensure LGBT students will have equal access to achieving high standards. Counselors will also consider possible barriers, whether it's race, socioeconomic status, and parenting, while including possible barriers of harassment, threatening, and bullying because of sexual orientation. Now, with the comprehensive counseling program, the school counselor and the principal also collaborate together. This will be known as the decision-making team.